All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Azul video. I'm going to do some gameplay, and just to give you an update on where I'm at, I was feeling really good about my play, hovering like around 800 pretty consistently, which is kind of the longest that I've been able to consistently maintain this level. And then I did my NHAS study session videos and promptly tanked my ELO, trying to implement some of the the stuff we saw there. So I'm back on the rebound a bit, up to 743. But yeah, I figured instead of doing arena games, we'll try to find some expert games. Just to have a little bit more competitive gameplay. So hopefully we can find some folks. And additionally, you will see that I don't have my notepad out on the right. That's because I'm using the new Azul Assistant Chrome extension. This was created by Code Ninja from the Azul Discord. So shout outs to Code Ninja. And we will see what that looks like once we get in game, if we can find one. It's not looking good. Okay, well, maybe we play an arena game just so that we can get something. Oh, no. Oh, perfect. I think, yeah, so this is the expert game, not the arena game. Perfect. Okay, so first of all, the Azul Chrome extension just gives you the tile counts up here. There's some other options like dark mode and stuff, but this is the main function of it. So, okay, our opponent plays 3 white. This is a super strong start. I think I would like to take the 2 blacks because I don't really want to give them 3 white and row 4 black right off the bat. So the question is where to play them. And, you know, it's between row 4 and row 5. I think I'll take my chances building the same column. I might be able to squeeze out like row 3 yellow. I'm kind of anticipating that they'll take reds here to start the competition for row 5. But if they don't take reds, that's probably what I will do. Okay. So the interesting thing that I could do here is actually to take reds on row 2. Because then I don't need to spend blue or yellow on row 2, and I can probably get one for row 3. And it's not getting started on row 5 red, but it's at least taking these 2 off the board. And if you are a frequent column 2 builder, you might run into the situation where you have like an unfinished row 5 and you need row 2 red in the same round. Like, I don't know how many times I've had these 3 row 2s completed, so I need red, but I also need red for row 5, and it's a super uncomfortable feeling. Okay, so now I don't just want to put the 3 yellows in the center because they might, I mean, I'd kind of be happy if they played them on row 4 or row 5, but I'm going to try to be a little sneakier about it. And take 1 black. And okay. So they see my idea. So now the question is, do I want to finish row 4 black and give them row 4 yellow, or do I want to take 2 yellow? And I think I want to take 2 yellow. This is bad for them. It completely disconnects from their row 3. They're basically going to have to build the side column, and I like when my opponents have to build the side column. So let's take 2 white. Oh, that is fascinating. I thought, so now they're like trying to play in both columns. They still want to build 5 for column 2, but now they're building 4 in column 5. So hopefully this will be very easy to exploit. Okay, so this draw is kind of tricky because there's 1 single white and 1 single black, and we want both of them, but they're on the same factory. So whichever one we take, our opponent will have the opportunity to group the other ones. I'm going to start with the white for vertical adjacency's sake, and it's a little awkward for my opponent to take 1 blue to group these blacks into a group of 4. Obviously they could do it, and it's what I would do if I were them, I think, but okay, so we see them not bother. Yeah, and there's I want to avoid these blacks getting grouped up. So I'm just going to continue to kind of play it safe here. And just react to whatever my opponent does. Okay, so taking 1 yellow means they can no longer get 2 yellow, which means their only adjacent row 2 is white. So I'm thinking about grabbing the 3 white. Blue is better for me though, so that would be ideal. So maybe I just let them have the white and overpay for it. The other tricky thing is I need to get a single blue for row 1, and I want to not get stuck with like 4 blues at the end. So let's grab the single blue for row 1 first. Okay. Yeah, and this is just like kind of unfortunate. Our opponent can play on either row black or blue row 3. Okay, let's just go with our best vertical adjacency scoring. And at least our opponent will take some negatives. Okay, so we're up by 1. We need reds, which is slightly problematic. We've got a lot of options here, which is nice in a sense. I'd like to not let my opponent get row 3 blue. I can play it as well, so it's just a matter of not being the one to put those into the center. I want to grab 2 red at some point, but I don't know that it's needs to be now. I'm kind of tempted to take the 2 yellow. My opponent will probably take the reds, and then I can take row 3 black maybe to knock off their row 4. That seems okay. Okay, so takes 1 white, which eliminates their ability to build row 3 blue, which I like. Okay, I think I'm going to take the reds now. I really want... I don't just want to take 2 black on row 3 and let the reds get grouped. I guess maybe it's okay. Maybe I can end up with a red or with a black or a white row 1. Okay, let's play defensively and try to manipulate this to our advantage. Okay, so we don't have to do too much here. Let's just take the 1 black. We should be able to make things awkward for our opponent, I think. Because they only have 2 rows to play on. And the only thing they can really like complete is row 4 white, but we'll just stop that. And they don't want to leave a row 4 unfinished because they need black on row 4. Yeah, so I think this is a mistake. And we will just take a white and throw it out. Okay, so an interesting question here is whether to take these blues and prevent them from getting row 3 blue. I think I like that. And then we'll just play white or black and leave them with these yellows. So this round feels kind of bad. But I'm hoping we've created enough chaos on our opponent's board that it will pan out for us. And notice that our opponent cannot play red anywhere. So although we didn't make any progress on row 5 red, it's going to be hard for them to defend it. So still up by 1. Okay. I want to leave the possibility of fully completing row 5 this round open. So I'm not going to take the red on row 1. I think I will take the white to secure the first player. But actually, I like the look of going row 2 black. Oh, no, no, no. White is... There's only 2 whites left. Okay. I was going to say, I like the idea of row 2 black because there's only 5 black left and our opponent's going to need 3 of them plus 4 of them if he doesn't get any this round. But yeah, let's just go for the white. We've got 2 options for row 2 white, which is great. And yeah, we forced our opponent to overpay for their row 4 completion. And yeah, we'll just keep rolling. We like the reds getting grouped up. Okay, taking a red, throwing it away. I think we have to group the blacks up so that they can only play on... yeah, right? This will work. We want to group the blacks up because then they have to play black on row 1 if they want any chance of playing on both rows. But they could start with the yellows. And then I don't have anywhere to play 3 blacks. So that's no good. So that doesn't work. It's interesting to think about just starting with 3 yellow. I think I like starting with 3 yellow. Let me think. I'd prefer for him to get yellow though. So that his rows 1 and 2 are in conflict with his row 4 in the next round. Okay, let's just do... Let's do 2 red. And the worst case scenario is we end up with 2 more red and row 3 blue. And he has to overpay for both row 1 and row 2. So this is good. This is good. Yeah. Yep, let's just do it. Our opponent's basically not going to be able to complete a column because there's only 5 black left. We have the first player tile and we need 2. Okay, that's a fascinating play. Fascinating doesn't mean bad, just unexpected. And yeah, so we can just take 3 black right off the bat on row 2, and then we are guaranteed to be able to get our red for our column. And we're down by 1, but we're effectively up by 6 because our opponent won't have a column. And now that they've done this, we can, by not taking red, we get both our row 1 and our column. Had they played like 2 red on row 2, row 3, they would have been able to prevent us from getting one of those. But okay, let's put a black in the center. Does it matter? Doesn't matter much. Their row 1 black is 7 points, and their row 2 black is also 7 points with the row bonus. So the row 2 black is slightly better, just in that you, in the event of a tie, you would have a row completed, but also row 1 white is open. So if you play row 1 black, you obviously can't do anything on row 2. But if you play row 2 black, you can still do something on row 1. Okay, so giving us the opportunity to dump 4 yellows on them, that feels like it's probably quite strong. I think this is a mistake. This blue is worth 2 points. The black would have been worth 7, so I'll take these blacks. I'm going to take some extra negatives from these whites, so maybe it would have been worth doing that math, but I mean, they just can't score. And so they're going to play the white. Playing the red is better here. The white's worth 0 points, but I go -5. The red was worth 0 points, but now I go minus nothing. So that was actually like a fairly tricky game, and honestly, like our opponent made some, I think, questionable round 1 decisions going row 4 yellow, row 5 red. That probably really slowed them down. So yeah, if you're a player that's in the 500 range, there's still like, there are players at this level that make what I would consider to be like fundamental mistakes like that. So if you just kind of like tighten up your play and make sure you're not getting in your own way, that can be enough to get up to 600. Whoops, I don't want arena. Let's see what we've got. Nothing yet. Okay, let's see how many minutes it's been. Give it like 1 more minute and then just start an arena game. Okay. Okay, 1686, so this is maybe like a 350 to 400 player. Okay, so very black and white heavy draw. So I'll probably start with row 4 black here. And try to pick up row 3 white as well. Okay. Um, yeah, so let's do this. This could get a little bit weird. Um, I need to be careful for what my row 2 is going to be. Okay, so this will be fine. So I'm not going to finish my row 4 black. I'm actually going to just let it be, but this way I'm just guaranteed a row 1 and a row 2. And my opponent, I'm going to have rows 1, 2, and 3, and my opponent will have, depending on what they choose to do here, they could have had row 1 and 2. Now they won't. So they are playing for column development versus the upper rows. It's kind of an interesting question of what to give them here or what to take. Might seem weird, but I think I'll take row 2 red, just kind of like the last game. Just getting row 2 red out of the way so it's not a pain later. And I don't care about these negatives. We're both at 0 anyway, so. Okay, so our opponent gets a nice 3 blue draw. Kind of a weird round for our board. We're probably going to end up with like row 2 white and maybe row 3 yellow, row 4 black, and some progress on row 5 red. I think that's about the best we can hope for. It's good to like think about what your optimal round is. And you might say like, oh, row 2 yellow and row 1 red is like the best for an adjacency standpoint. But if you play row 2 yellow, you have like nothing to do with these whites. So it's actually probably best to try to get row 2 white and row 3 yellow. Getting row 3 yellow might be tough because our opponent's going to be all over it. But maybe we can kind of manipulate something together here. Yeah, let's start with a single black that puts a yellow in the middle and a white in the middle so that our opponent only has one more option for 1 white. And if they take this option for 1 white, then we can take 2 white and create a group of 3. 3 yellows, that is. Which doesn't mean they won't take it, but okay, so they don't do that. Okay, so now let's create a group of 3 white to add pressure to this row 4. And yeah, I think we want our reds for row 5. And we might get row 2 white, so let's take a blue on row 1. And our opponent now has to do something about... Yep, okay. Excuse me. So we've reached the point where we have the 3 yellows, but we can't guarantee ourselves a row 2. So I think we need to go 2 red first on row 5. This creates the group of 2 black so that we can potentially... So we can get any of these row 2s. Okay, so yeah, our opponent takes the black. So at this point, let's just make them pay the maximum price for their row 2. And we'll get this red for a row 5. So it didn't exactly go as planned with the yellows, but we did force our opponent to go -8, just by like identifying that they wanted these yellows and putting those yellows in conflict with the white and black. We're down by 2, so not all is good and dandy just because we made our opponent go -8. But our opponent did miss a row 2, so we have that advantage. Another group of 3 blue. Okay. So knowing... I don't want to contest these blues. It's going to be really messy. Going to put some whites in the middle, which they might like. It might put some yellows in the middle, which they're going to like. So I don't like that option. I actually don't hate going like straight for row 4 white here and getting the first player tile. Another alternative is like grabbing a row 2 yellow. I don't really want to group anything. My opponent just has like this wide open column that tiles are good for. But I don't like taking a 2 yellow because it just gives them the first player tile with the blue. So, okay, let's try this row 4 white. Okay. And now let's go for row 2 yellow to try to slow down our opponent's row 3 yellow, because we can also potentially play on row 3. We could also try to get the blues grouped up actually again. Maybe I want to get rid of these single yellows so that this becomes a little bit harder to build. So I'm thinking about 1 red, and I kind of like that it groups these whites together because now my opponent can't take from this factory without giving me row 4 white. Pretty tricky round, kind of, for both of us. I don't feel like my opponent has an obvious play here. Honestly, like 1 black isn't bad, but then you give me the 2 white. And like taking 2 white on row 2 just opens up blues for me. But I have to be careful because obviously they are takeable. Okay, so I'm not seeing a great way around giving my opponent row 3 yellow other than to just take 1 now. They take 1, I take the other 2 and throw them away maybe. I mean, it doesn't feel good. Taking 1 black is kind of interesting. Oh, I kind of like taking 1 black because then their row 1 yellow is in conflict with the row 3 yellow. And if they take a white, then I can take those three, I can take the row 3 yellow. Okay, I'm running out of time, so we're going to just go with it. Black, row 5, just throw it away. Okay, they take and throw away a red. I think that's fine. Yeah. Let's take the white. And if they take the 4 yellows on row 3, then we can take the 2 yellows on row 2. And then they don't get a row 1. Yep, okay, so we're going to see this play out. So they throw out a red, and we're actually quite happy to get row 3 blue, some blues on row 3. They could also play the blues and threaten full color blue, and I would need to be really aware of that. That would have been interesting because there's 9 blues left, and they would only have needed 5 of them. So this actually works out quite nicely for us. This doesn't look good, but if we hit like all of these tiles, then we're going to score a bunch. But of course, there's only 2 white this round, and the blues are in groups of 2 and 3. So, but okay, let's start with row 2 blue, I think. And I'm sorry, not row 2 blue, the 2 blues on row 3. Let's close that out. There's only 3 black left, so we want both of these in this round. Well, maybe we don't necessarily need both, but we at least want the first player tile and the first round. But let's start here. Suspected this would happen. Not super worried about my row 5 red at the moment. There's 6 left. Okay, so I'd like to get the whites into the middle to potentially actually get this row 4. But I don't have the first player tile, so but blues are just, okay. We're going to leave the row 2 decision open for now. Okay. So it's going to be a little dicey next round because we're going to need 2 of the 3 remaining blacks. But playing the blues here protects me against getting these blacks dumped on me. And I'll be able to make sure that my opponent gets them. I've talked about this in other videos, but if you haven't watched them, if you can force a situation where there's 4 colors in the middle and only 1 factory left that doesn't contain the 5th color, then you basically control the end of the round sequencing. So if my opponent takes any color from the center, I take that color from the factory. That leaves 3 colors. They go last. Yeah, so expected this. Yeah, this is a tough spot. I think 3 black on row 3 is the play here. Because then to force the end of the round scenario, I would have to take 2 blacks, which I can't play. And if I don't take 2 blacks, then I get stuck with 5 of them at the end of the round. So 3 black on row 3 is really strong. And then you could follow up or 3 black on row 4 even. Just taking the 3 blacks is the right play here. I'm fairly confident. This is what to think about if you're on the receiving end of this situation where there's 4 colors in the middle. You want to take from the center whichever color makes it most awkward for your opponent. So imagine if I had to take 2 blacks here. Super awkward. But now I just take a blue. I'm sorry, a red, which was very natural for me. And then they're going to end up having to deal with these 5 blacks. And I protect myself from basically minus 14. I'm still going to go minus 6, but at least it's not minus 14. So another thing worth remembering in this game is that I don't have to end the game next round. My opponent had a round of incomplete row 1 and the round of incomplete row 2. So they cannot end the game. So I need to assess the situation and find out if ending the game is winning for me. Being up by 9, it probably is. But I may not get row 2 black. So that is a consideration. Pretty tough. So a lot to think about. There's these yellows available on row 3. That's one way I can score. But right now my opponent's basically looking at 3 points plus 5 points is 8 points plus maybe 6 more. So they're looking at 11. I'm scoring 7 plus 5 is 12. Okay, I think a sneaky play I need to make is actually just 1 black on row 2, because this is worth so much for them. This black is worth 7 points, whereas this yellow is only worth 3. Okay, so because of what we just talked about in the last round with the 4 colors in this middle thing, I don't want to take a white and give my opponent the opportunity to do that to me. I don't know that this player would, but getting stuck with like 4 blues at the end of this round is someone's gonna lose because of that, most likely. So I'm just gonna take 1 red and complete my column. So I'm up by 9, and right now I'm scoring 5 and my opponent's scoring 5, so I'm effectively up by 9. And if I want to end the game, I have to do it now. So if I take white, this ends the game. My opponent can score on red. If they do that, they'll end up taking the 4 blues. So I could opt to end the game next round instead, but they have full color black threats. They have a second column threat, and I don't really have that. I'm going to take a little bit of a leap of faith and just play this way and end the game. I'm up by 9. This probably is not going to work out for me, actually. I think if he plays on row 1, maybe I'm still okay. Okay, I think this is a mistake. Because now I play yellow. He has to take the reds. He's scoring 11, I think. But -4, so he's scoring 7, and I'm scoring more than that with only 2 extra, and I get -2 extra. So, so the question is, had he played the yellows on row 1, yeah, so still not within. The yellows were at 3 points. So, okay, that was a pretty good one. Our opponent was around 450. We're at 46 minutes, so I think those were 2 pretty solid games. I'll just call it there, back over 750. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.